Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our Sabbath afternoon Torah study and prayer service. I hope you're all well and blessed to the Most High. My name's Ovadia.
And I'm Yochanan.
And we're with Sabbath Keepers Fellowship. Last week, we went through our top 50 scriptures regarding the way in Scripture. As we told you all, there are many more, and only time constraints kept us from presenting more of them to you. Today's lesson is from another oracle on the same subject, which is called The Way in Yehoshua in Scripture. This will be a somewhat more focused study on the way as it concerns Yehoshua HaMashiach himself specifically, and those who seek to follow him. As with the last two lessons, the original and complete version of this article can be found on our website at sabbathkeepersfellowship.org. But before we get into the study, let's have a prayer. Father Yahweh, we come before your throne on this your Shabbat day. We thank you for it. We thank you for the blessing and for the rest. We thank you for remembering our remembrance of the departure from Mitzrayim, Egypt, for the creation, and for this Mikra Kodesh, this gathering of those of Yisrael who belong to you and are your people. We ask you to bless us with understanding, knowledge, wisdom, open our hearts, our minds, our eyes to see wonders from your Torah, in fellowship and for your sake, in Yehoshua's name. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Okay, now for the lesson.
Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam noten haTorah. Blessed art thou, Yahweh, our Elohim, who gives us the Torah.
Amen.
Yehoshua HaMashiach said, I am the way and the truth and the life.
He did. This grand statement comes from, or as a result of Yeshua's disciples directly asking him to show us the way. His claim directly equates him with the things that Scripture attributes to the way. So, as we learn what Scripture says about either one of those, we can fairly apply these to both. In this teaching, we'll examine various elements of the way and see exactly how they correspond to Yehoshua HaMashiach in order to better understand him and to know more clearly what Yahweh expects us to resemble if we truly choose to walk as Yehoshua walked. About both Yehoshua and the way, Scripture speaks of, and we'll give these in category. First, truth.
Teach me your way, O Yahweh, and let me walk in your truth.
Truth stands on its own merit and contains no falsehood. No honest analysis can disprove it. Yehoshua told Pilate,
everyone who is of the truth hears my voice.
This shows that Yahweh provided a person in whom he could manifest the way of truth. The next category would be life.
The gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life.
That's what he told us. True life has within itself all the abundance and pleasant things and relationships with others in the way. As the way leads to life, so does Yehoshua himself, as he says,
I have come that they might possess life, and that they might possess it beyond measure.
Amen. We can see that both lead to life. The next category, set apartness, otherwise known as holiness.
And there shall be a highway and a way, and it shall be called the set apart way. The unclean does not pass over it, but it is for those who walk in the way, and no fools wander on it.
No fools. The way exists distinctly and separate from every other way, and those who walk in it strive to hold themselves pure from everything which defiles. Yehoshua enjoys the distinction of existing as the only begotten of the Father. As such, nothing in him can be common, as he claims,
Set them apart by your truth.
Thus, if we walk in the way, we are set apart for his purposes. Another category of Yehoshua and his resemblance to the way is perfection.
The El. His way is perfect. The word of Yahweh is proven.
Perfection in Hebrew, tamim, means some person or thing has everything required to fulfill its function. It's whole and complete. It contains no blemish or flaw that would disqualify it from its purpose. Yehoshua prays,
I have esteemed you on earth, having accomplished the work you have given me, that I should do.
had he lacked any required quality or authority, he would have failed in the way. He instructs us, too, that we should be perfect, as our Father in heaven is perfect, thus laying upon us the duty to learn of him and to walk in the way, even as he walked. The next category would be righteousness.
Great and marvelous are your works, Yahweh El Shaddai. Righteous and true are your ways, O King of the set apart ones.
Righteousness. Well, righteousness is most misunderstood. Absolute righteousness is not something attainable by human beings, but righteousness always guards the commandments, statutes, and judgments of Yahweh. That's what it does, and that's what a righteous person should do. Walking in the way requires nothing less. Yehoshua proved his righteousness in that he was tempted in all things, as we are, yet he didn't sin. Scripture tells us that he learned obedience through the things that he suffered. This also applies to us. To learn obedience in the way, we must do what Yahweh commands, walking in righteousness without regard to the hardships that it causes us, as best we can. The next category would be shalom.
And you, child, Zechariah says of his son Yochanan, shall be called the prophet of the Most High, for you shall go before the face of Yahweh to prepare his ways, to guard our feet in the way of shalom.
Amen. Shalom, peace, actually it's much bigger than just peace, provides a soundness of mind and body. It lacks any strife internally or externally. Yehoshua said,
Shalom I leave with you, my shalom I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid.
Amen. We can find the way of shalom in Shaul's words. He said,
Do not worry at all, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to Elohim. And the peace of Elohim, which surpasses all understanding, shall guard your hearts and minds through HaMashiach Yehoshua.
Amen. The next category would be knowledge.
And now, please, if I have found favor in your eyes, please show me your way and let me know you.
To know Yahweh. That's part of the new covenant, found in Yirmiyahu 31:31. Knowledge of Yahweh implies such a deep and complete intimacy with the Creator that any tiny bit of separation from him would seem like a great gulf. Mm-hmm. Even as the way reveals the Father, so does Yehoshua, as he says,
if you have seen me, you have seen the Father.
Amen. He also prays,
O righteous Father, indeed the world did not know you, but I know you. And these knew that you sent me. And I have made your name known to them and shall make it known, so that the love with which you loved me might be in them and I in them.
Amen. We can imagine no deeper knowledge of Yahweh than through the way, which Yehoshua proclaims in this passage. The next category, understanding, binah.
Leave the simple ones and live, and walk in the way of understanding.
Just like that. Understanding hears and comprehends the revelations and instructions of Yahweh. It's written that those who stray from the way of understanding rest in the assembly of the dead. But Yehoshua will provide life and understanding to those who will accept it and follow after him. He says to his Talmudim, his apostles and students,
To you it has been given to know the secrets of the reign, the kingdom of Elohim, but to the rest in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not understand.
This prophecy of Yeshayahu means that while Yahweh desires to give understanding to all, some still refuse the way, which has been made manifest in Yehoshua to them. However, those who follow the way can expect revelation of understanding from him that leads them to further along that path which Yahweh has given for his people to walk in. Expect it. The next category, wisdom, chokhmah.
Yahweh possessed me, the beginning of his way, as the first of his works of old.
Wisdom is a synthesis of great knowledge and understanding, the two together. It discerns unspoken details and empowers one to make decisions about the most effective outcome. Yahweh says,
I have taught you in the way of wisdom. I have led you in straight paths.
Amen. Yehoshua knows and understands the thoughts of men, and so instructs his students to
be wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
Because he sends us out as sheep among wolves. Following wisdom gives us discernment to see deeply and to recognize more than what appears on the surface of things, so that we're able to walk straightly in the way without turning to the right or the left. Another category of comparison of Yehoshua and the way is oneness.
And I shall give them one heart and one way, to fear me all their days, for the well-being of them and their children after them.
One is unique, or oneness is unique, having no other beside it or like it. Yehoshua recites the greatest command when he says,
Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Elohim, Yahweh is one.
He's one. This confirms the singularity of the Creator. Yehoshua also claims,
no one comes to the Father except through me.
Showing that he is the way, the one and only way.
All right.
We've now looked at the way of truth, life, set-apartness, perfection, righteousness, shalom, knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and oneness. And we've seen comparisons of them with Yehoshua HaMashiach. We can conclude from this comparison that the two have the same attributes and are equal. They are one and the same. Seeing one, we've seen the other. So then, let us take his yoke upon us and learn from him, for he is meek and lowly of heart, and he will give us rest for our souls as we walk together in the way. Okay then.
So we presented this article by Sabbath Keepers Fellowship to you. And now we'd like to talk a bit more about it. Avadja?
Well, this was just a small sample of the comparisons which can be found in Scripture regarding Yehoshua and the way. We shall be seeking and finding them to show ourselves approved to Elohim, a worker who need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. It's not a small thing to do, and it's not easy or brief. It's not something you can do in a small hit and run study, even as this one. But it's something we need to pursue. If, as we said in our the first article we presented on the subject of the way, if Paul of Tarsus said, he confessed that he was a follower of the way, which they call a sect. If he can say that, and if we can find these analogies, these comparisons so easily between Yehoshua and the way, then it's something that we should look into seriously, and we should spend no shortage of time learning of it. Because if it was what Yehoshua did and how what he so much resembled, and if Paul of Tarsus, among others, confessed that he was a follower of the way, and Yehoshua, as he said, was the way, the truth, and the life, then it's important for us. In fact, it's all important. The New Covenant says that Yahweh is going to write the Torah on our hearts. It says that we'll know Yahweh. Yehoshua spoke of us knowing Yahweh. And that's the object of the way. For us to know him in all of our ways. Nothing more important than that. And so, brothers and sisters, you hear a lot of teachings about the name of the group that you belong to, people follow, Notre Messianic Christian. And every once in a while, you'll hear somebody mention the way. It's not just another one of those. In fact, it's not really one of those at all. It's not a religion. It's not just the name of a group. It's a whole life. It's a whole mindset. It's a whole universe. It's all of Scripture put together into one concept, supported by faith and obedience and all those things. But the idea of the way is so huge, so large. Nothing else compares to it in terms of a lifestyle or a religion or whatever you would call it. It's everything. And we can't sit here and teach you everything you need to know about it, at least not in a short article or even in several lessons. It's that immense. All we're trying to do is present it to you in such a way that you notice and you take to heart that it is that big and it is that important, and you need to go seek it and find it, because Yehoshua is the way. The Scriptures are the way. The commandments are the way. It's not just the law. It's everything we need to do and be in order to imitate our Messiah and walk as he walked. And so please the Most High, as best we're able in this flesh, and to join ourselves with his people, become one of Yisrael, and absolutely saved to the kingdom, pleasing to the Father. That would be my final thought on the subject. That it's that important, and we need to pursue it with all our hearts, all our souls, and all our might. So, brief as it has been, that concludes the lesson today on the teaching. I hope you all learned and benefited from it as always. And it's most certainly been our privilege to bring it to you.
Hallelujah.